Hi guys, welcome back. So this is the welcome back to the I Suck at Pinball Pinball 101 learning series. Today we're going to be going over plunges and skill shots. So we've got some cool tables to look at today. We're going to talk just a little bit about it. This one will be a lot shorter than the first one. These lessons are going to be much more truncated and talk about very specific things. However, some of them will actually involve gameplay. You're going to have to see gameplay. So I may need a couple tries to make sure that we can do what we need to do. So today we're going to start with Brother in Arms Pinball. We're going to talk about plunges and skill shots. This is a pretty cool table if you've ever seen it. This is a Zen Studios release from Gearbox, so pretty cool. So when we talk about plunges, we're talking about the button or the lever on your right hip that you pull away from the table to plunge the ball. It's basically spring-loaded. So in this case, this table, the reason I chose this table is because it has, you actually get to pick your skill shot, which is pretty cool. See, I've hit the start button, and now I can hit the flippers, and you'll notice that these arrows are moving around the playfield. I'm getting to choose which skill shot I get to do. So I'm going to be able to plunge this ball. It's a full plunge on this one. I don't have to do anything crazy with the plunger. Sometimes you do a half plunge, a quarter plunge, full plunge, depending on the table. This one's a full plunge, and the ball is going to be able to go somewhere on the table, and you get to choose where you want your skill shot to be. So in this case, I'm going to put the skill shot right here. I'm going to pick the most expensive one. This is a $2 million or 2 million point shot if I can get it. We'll try it a couple times. I'll show you how I do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that in. Now I picked my skill shot. Now I'm going to do a full plunge. Hold up this right button. It's going to come down to here. And I actually got it anyway because it actually had a grace period on that one. But that's not the essence of the skill shot. So we'll do it again. We're going to go over here to that arrow, lock it in, do the full plunge, and I can do just like this. And I missed it that time. The idea is to hit that exactly off that shot. So that's a skill shot. What we can do with this one though now, you can say, hey, I want to do this skill shot here. So this one we'll do a full plunge. Locked in, we're going to do a full plunge. It's going to come down. We're going to take that shot like that. See how I got that million points? That's the skill shot. So that is a basic skill shot for this table. The nice thing about this one is it has so much variety. These skill shots up here are very, very difficult to get. This one I find to be pretty easy, and it's the most profitable. So, oops, no, I didn't do it. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. So we're going to pick that one, lock it in, plunge, and see if I can get it this time. You got to hit it on the fly. I keep missing it. Jeez. Anyway, we've showed it. So skill shots are not always a thing. So if you can get them, they're big points. Some tables are very, very difficult, but you might get a skill shot that gives you big points right off the bat, which is really, really cool. So skill shots, you need to use them. Most tables have a skill shot. Not all do. In fact, there's quite a few that don't, for that matter. So let's go to, we're going to go to the Addams family. Actually, no, we're going to go to Twilight Zone. It's a good representation of this. This one has a skill shot that involves plunging. So the plunge actually is the skill shot in this case. So in the case of the Brother in Arms, you've seen that we shot the ball to the playfield, and then the skill shot required us to actually take a shot to get the skill shot. This case, the skill shot is the plunge. So over here on the right-hand side, this plunger, or this plunge lane only goes to about halfway up. You see it stops here, and you have these different color elements. You have blue, yellow, orange, red. So that is going to determine how much we plunge. So we're going to do like a little tiny half a plunge on this, and we're going to see, we don't want to plunge it full. If we plunge a full plunge, it just dumps it in. It gives us 1 million points. You think, oh, that's good, 1 million points, that's a lot of points. But it's not. You can do a skill shot for a lot more points. So we're going to do kind of a little tiny, you see the variance of plunge here on the bottom here? I don't know if you can see my hand, there it is. We're going to do this, we're going to pull like a little half a plunge, That was still too much. So we're going to do this again. We're going to do this really, really light. If you play this table in real life, this plunger is tiny, and it's got this little tiny spring on it. So we're going to pull this back just a tiny little bit. See that? I got 2 million for that type of skill shot because I got to the red. Now we're going to try to, we want to go as high up as we can, but not to the point of plunging it all the way. Still too much. Just rolled in. So this is the nuance of skill shots, which is really cool. There we go. So look at that one. I got 10 million for that skill shot. Very cool. So that is what a skill shot is for a couple different cool tables. We're going to go to the next table, and I'll show you what a skill shot looks like on a different table. So let's talk about Attack from Mars again. Attack from Mars has a really cool skill shot of sorts. There's a couple different ones, but there's some elements to this that are a little different. So we'll talk about this one. So there's a skill shot on here that involves the rollovers, and when you do the plunge, the reason I picked this one is because it has a really cool element. Brian Eddy was always known for this, so if you ever know that it's a Brian Eddy table, there might be something cool about it. In this case, if you do a full plunge, so here are your rollovers. There's a rollover that's lit and one that's not. Generally on the plunge, you want to hit the one that's actually blinking for the skill shot. So we're going to do a full plunge. That's our skill shot. We got quite a bit of points for that, and then it's going to kick out the scoop and come to the left flipper. So that's one way to do it. That's the true skill shot. However, there's a really cool element in Attack from Mars that allows you to progress towards your, in this case, it's Total Annihilation, which is a really cool mode. It is a multi-ball mode where you fill out all of these different targets and ramps and orbits, and you're going to do that. So what we're going to do this time, we're going to go and we're going to plunge the ball, but we're going to do something a little different. We're going to show that. In this case, we're going to hold the left flipper before we plunge. Now this is not a common thing. There's a few tables that do it. Garfield does it. Attack from Mars does it. Mandalorian does it, I believe, in modern Stern tables. Stranger Things, I think, does it. I know Venom has a element of this. I have not checked Elton John. That's one I need to check. That's a Steve Ritchie table, though, so maybe he wouldn't have it. But in this case, we're going to hold the left flipper up. So see, I got the left flipper engaged. This time when I plunge, the ball's going to go all the way around. And I'm going to have to take a shot to one of these fanned-out shots. And that's considered a skill shot, but you don't get the points for it. You get a reward for it. And I blew it completely. So let's do that again. So you see how all those red lights were lit up? That is asking me to hit one of those shots for an added element. Man, I cannot seem to get it. See that? In this case, it was start the attack wave. I hit this thing within the grace period, or the time, and it actually took down the force field to the space shuttle, or the saucer, immediately. If I was to hit this cow ramp, all three of these would have been lit, and it only would have required one more shot to get that element, instead of having to hit this ramp 1, 2, 3 times before that shot. So it's just a little bit different. So skill shots and plunges kind of go hand in hand, and it depends on the table. So in this case, this one, Wild West Rampage, is another good example. This one has a ton of different skill shots. There's a couple different elements to it. We'll show a couple of them. Let's see if I can hit them. I have not been having good luck, but we'll show them anyway. Wild West Rampage. Really cool table. Now you'll see right here, these lights are blinking. That is a skill shot. So if you do a full plunge, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss it outright. You see these two lights came on? There's a super skill shot there. So what we're going to do, we're going to start over. We're going to do a half plunge first to see if we can't get these ones. Still too much. Skill shot failed. You see that right away. There we go. That's a skill shot. So 500,000 points, 500,000. Okay. Let's try it again. We're going to do a full plunge this time. It's going to go around. Bigger skill shot, 2 million points. So this is what I'm talking about. So either one of those shots would have been 2 million on the super skill shot. I believe there's one more skill shot here, which I don't generally go for, but apparently if you do like a half plunge up the train ramp and get it to come down into the jail, that's another skill shot. So we'll give that a try, see if we can't do that. I know Shalana Love told me about it. We'll give this one a go. Oops, still not enough. So it's not full, but it's still less than that. Yeah. So that one's a lot trickier to do, and it's actually less than the super skill shot, so I generally don't go for it. But every table has, or not every table, but a lot of tables have a cool skill shot that you're dealing with. So let's look at Garfield, for example. This was another one that we talked about. A couple different skill shots in this one as well. So this one has a skill shot up at the top with the rollovers, again, just like Attack from Mars. This is not a Brian Eddy table. This is actually Thomas Croft's table. This is produced and created by Zen Studios. This is Garfield, very difficult table, but it's very low scoring, so the skill shot is very, very important to this particular title. So if you do a full plunge to this, it's going to end up at the top, and you get a skill shot, 500,000 points, right? Cool. Okay, that's all fine and well, but this is a low scoring table, so we want to try to maximize as many points as we can get. So what we're going to do in this case, you can hold up left flipper again. So I encourage people to hold up the left flipper sometimes. Sometimes you'll allow that ball to go all around the orbit and you'll actually get some kind of benefit. In this case, you see here, this spider's going back and forth. Super skill shot. It tells you right here, as long as I'm holding that left flipper, that super skill shot is active. It means that I have to hit the spider or this trash can, in this case, to get the super skill shot. And it's worth 2 million points. So let's give it a go, see if I can't get it. And you do have a grace period, but not that much. Sometimes I'll start these games and I will wait. I will make sure that I get the skill shot first. Jeez. This is a very low scoring table too, so it is a more important element a lot of times to get these right off the gate. Man, you can see how difficult this one is. There you go. I actually hit it that time. It wasn't a great skill shot, but I hit it. One way or another, you had to hit the spider or the trash can. In this case, I got it. You can see on the BMD now, I have 2 million points. That's well worth it. That's a big skill shot. So that is, in a nutshell, plunges and skill shots. All tables have a plunger of some capacity. Sometimes it's just a button. So you don't even, you'll pull the plunger, but there's not really a plunge. Sometimes it's just a button. In a lot of modern games, it's a gun or something like that. But they generally have the same type of things going on. Trying to think of another one that would be another good example. Homeworld actually has a pretty wild skill shot, which is a little different. So let's go to that one. Yeah. So, not one of my favorite tables, but it has a skill shot that's just kind of cool. It's very different. So this is kind of a half. This is a shot skill shot again. So you're going to do, it's not a full plunge, partial plunge kind of a thing. Yeah, it's kind of a combination of the two. In this case, we're going to do kind of a half plunge. We want it to get up to here, but not into the rollovers. We don't want to get into the rollovers. We want this ball to roll back down to our left flipper. And we're going to take a shot either to the spinning disc or to this ramp. This one's 1 million, this one's 2 million. We'll see what we can do. We can do like a little half plunge. That's 1 million, that's a skill shot. Next, let's see if we can get the big one. Let that ball come back, roll back down. And I missed it on that one. I don't have to hold the flipper on this one. Let the ball fall. There's the big skill shot, 2.5 million. So that is just another example of what a skill shot can do for your game. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for being here. Hope you're liking the series. Retro Tech.